Welcome to Second Listen Saturday on the Parenting Roundabout podcast, where we share some fun moments from a past episode for your weekend listening pleasure. Look for new episodes every Monday through Friday. I've got a gripe about jury duty. Well, everybody has a gripe about jury duty. Everybody complains about jury duty. No one wants to do jury duty. And yet I have sort of a weird situation with jury duty in that from time to time, my kids get called for it. They're both young adults with developmental disabilities, and I have never wanted to say, you are not competent to do this thing. Let's get you out of it. I have always tried to avoid that. And so jury duty is sort of a weird thing because I don't actually know that it would be a good idea for them to do it. I think my daughter probably could, although it would be a very anxiety-provoking thing for her, and I don't look for that opportunity. But a few times she's gone ahead and you know, said okay to it, and then she hasn't been called and she hasn't go in, and that's great. My son, I don't know that he could actually do it. He's been called in a few times and we've always had reasons to delay because he's been in school or he's had a new job or something like that. But now one has come and there's really no reason to delay it. And yet my husband and I talking about it, you know, even if he doesn't get called, doesn't get put on a jury, if he got actually put on a jury, I don't know that he could do that. For just going and sitting around and getting called and then not being taken, you know, sitting in a room bored for a long period of time, not really a strong suit. So they do say that, you know, there's provisions to be made for people with disabilities so they can participate in jury duty. And I'm thinking, well, you know, I don't want to say, let's get you an excuse to get out of this. You're incompetent to do this. And I don't want him to feel that civic duty is not something he needs. And I don't want the community to feel like they can just leave him out of civic duty. And so I called to find out because, you know, if he can do this, he should do it. And of course, they don't have any accommodations for developmental delays. I said he would need somebody to be with him to kind of make sure he knew what he was supposed to do when he was supposed to do it, that he went when he was called, that he didn't sit in the jury box playing with keys, that he didn't do anything that was going to cause him to be arrested for not participating. Mm-hmm. You know, I worry about these things. Yeah. And it's just not going to be an easy thing for him to do with, you know, if his dad or I could go with him, that would be fine, but they're not going to allow that. So I called and they said, oh no, we don't have any accommodations like that. Get him an excuse to get out of it. So the advocate part of me is like, you know, how many young adults are there now with autism who have gone all through schools inclusively, who have gone to college, who are in jobs? How many, kids with disabilities are there who should be allowed to participate in this mundane bit of public service and yet are not? Nobody's going to give them accommodations to do it. They're going to be left out. So the advocate part of me wants to say, yes, you have to have accommodations. What are you talking about? Find a way to make my kid. And then the other part of me goes, it's jury duty. 99% of Americans would be overjoyed to have a way to get out of jury duty. This is what you're going to fight for? This is where you're going to unloose your stress?
Well, now that you're not working, you know, with and against the school system, you need a new outlet,
I know,
Terri.
but it's like, if there has ever been a choose your battle situation, this is perhaps one of them. Job is important. Yes, you're going to be included in a job. You're going to be included in all sorts of other things. But jury duty, do I really want to fight so that I can take him down to a crappy part of town for 2 days and send him into a public building and worry for however many hours he's there so that he can sit and be bored and uncomfortable and hope that he doesn't get called to do something? So it's like, I think I'm going to let this one go. I think I'm going to get the doctor's excuse. But I feel terrible about it, you know, because it's not...
No, I don't think you should. People opt out of stuff all the time because it's not working for them.
Yeah. I think that it's okay to not force them to do it, right? It's okay to get the excuse?
Yeah, I mean, inclusion is not synonymous with full participation in everything.
Good.
I mean, it's not, and that's, I mean.
This is what I'm coming to you for, Nicole. Let me off the hook. Do I have to advocate for inclusion here? Really?
I mean, we opt out of things all the time as adults that we don't want to participate in.
That's true.
And it's fair to say that so should your child be allowed that
you should be
opportunity
to take advantage.
I mean, and it's similar to, like you said, with your daughter, if it would cause anxiety, that could be harmful to her.
Yeah.
Like that's a reason to not do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of different from her developmental needs.
Right.
In that a person who is typically developing could also have an anxiety problem and be unable to participate in something like that.
Yeah. For her, I'm sort of more, I've always felt more like I want to push her to do things, which is not always turned out to be the right thing to do. But I can see, I can visualize a situation in which she would enjoy doing it. She would, I feel confident that some nice lady in the jury pool would take her under her wing and make sure she does what she needs to do. And that she has the capacity to listen, pay attention to what's being said, and to do what she should do. And she also has opinions on things. So I can see her being on a jury and having an opinion. I think she could do it. And if I think she could do it, I think she should. But my son, I don't necessarily, it's harder for me to see a situation in which he would be engaged and he would feel that it was a worthwhile thing to do. And I do worry that he would do something that somebody would interpret as disrespectful or purposely not participating, and he could get in trouble. So I think I'm going to let myself off the hook on that one. I'm glad that you guys agree. But it's just, they're, shout out to the American court system. You're passing over a lot of people. If there's a way that you can include these people, there should be a way to include. I mean, I imagine they have sign language interpreters and they have, ways to get people who have mobility problems to where they're going to go. But there's, a growing population of people with developmental and intellectual disabilities who, through the benefit of school inclusion, are now much more included in their communities than they used to be. And why shouldn't they have to go through this grind along with everybody else? Because I see things online. I Googled about jury duty for people with developmental disabilities, and there are websites that are saying, yes, this is part of being a part of your community. You should force, require accommodations so that they can do this thing, and I can see the point of that. And I like that. And that's probably why I would push my daughter to do it. But
you know what? You don't have to be the one that fights that battle.
But then I just keep coming back to, this is an onerous task. This is like not voting where you can go and you can do it quickly and easily. This is not something that maybe needs to be the hill I'm going to die on.
Right. Maybe there's somebody else out there who is like, this is their thing. They're ready to,
That's true. That's true. There are people
start
who would
this campaign. You don't have to be that person every time. That's not fair.
Well, your children, or you can have your kids, and they already do in many ways, make contributions to their communities in other ways.
That's right. I mean, my son does.
Every opportunity is right for every person.
That's very true. My son spends a lot of time volunteering at the local food pantry. That's definitely a community contribution. So,
and he's learning a lot from that, and it's important to him and meaningful to him. And
right, and he is a representative member of the community. In that, when I told him he got called for jury duty, he said, "Mom, can you get me out of it?" So he's just like all of us. So I was, well, you're supposed to do it, and it's a good thing to do. And maybe Mom can get him out of it. But getting him out of it is not something that I've had as a priority in his life. Yeah. Finding a way for him to get into it has been the priority. Right, so it's just weird.
So it feels weird to you.
It does. It feels weird. And maybe this is part of, switching from advocating for a kid to letting an adult advocate for themselves, is letting them say, you know what? let's not pick this one. let's skip this one over. I really don't want to do this thing. Don't expend your tears and effort in getting me able to do something that I do not wish to do.
That I really don't want
to. You guys, neither of you have kids who are called for jury duty.
We are not eligible to
You're
vote.
not eligible for jury duty. And Catherine, your kids are too young.
The county does not realize that.
So do they still send the things?
Whoever sends out that jury duty notice.
That I think goes to everybody who has a driver's license or state ID, because my son doesn't have a driver's license, but he has an ID from the DMV. So I think it just goes to everybody.
They must, because we're getting one like every other month or so, and so we have to keep sending them back. So as far as jury duty goes, we haven't come across that yet, but
I kind of don't mind doing it. The times I've done it, it's been kind of fun, but it's just a massive inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I did it. And I did it in Manhattan. I've never been called here.
Really?
But my friend in New Jersey is on a grand jury.
Yes.
Where she has to go like one day a week for a year
I did that.
Or something.
Oh, wow.
Well, it wasn't a year. It was like 10 weeks. So it was when I did it.
This is definitely longer than 10.
Yeah.
Really?
The nice thing about being on a grand jury was that you weren't deciding on somebody's life and death. You weren't deciding on somebody's incarceration or non-incarceration. You were just deciding if they went to trial. So it was a lot less pressure, a lot lower, burden of proof. And you got to hear a whole bunch of cases. It was kind of fun, but, massively inconvenient to go there one day a week for a prolonged period of time. But, kind of interesting too. I did not mind doing that.
And she tells stories about how the other people on the jury, there are a few who just don't pay attention, don't follow the rules, and that's extremely frustrating.
Yes. I was on a hung jury once in Los Angeles, actually, where it was just one person had her mind made up before she even heard anything. And so there was just no way you were ever going to persuade her.
Wow.
Right.
So can you imagine your kids being on juries?
I mean, my son is only 13, but he likes to argue.
He watches all those procedurals, so he'll be...
He watches procedurals. He reads about, he reads about this kind of thing. So, yeah, he'd probably be, like, up there. He'd probably get in trouble for, trying to prosecute the case instead of hear it as a jury number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the one in Los Angeles that I was talking about was the first time I had been on a full trial. And I was so disappointed that it was so much different than what you want to see on TV. And in this particular case, the defender, the public defender, was really good, and the prosecutor was really bad. And it's even though I believed the prosecution's case more, the guy was so poorly spoken and so bad at his job, and the public defender was so good and so smooth and so like TV-like.
Yeah.
It was really, I felt like, can I get up and argue your points, please? I watched Law and Order last night.
I need to help you.
But it was just, it's so much more boring and so much less slick than every lawyer show you see on TV.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to say, I shouldn't say ashamed, because I've actually never had the opportunity to, I've been at, in Canada, you don't get them very often because we don't have a large population of people.
Yeah.
But, I guess those days just didn't work for me for whatever reason. And here, of course, we can't vote because we're not citizens. So, or we can't have anything to do with the legal system, good or bad. We are here legally. We just are not citizens.
Yes.
Have to make that point. So I've never had the experience.
Well.
Yeah. Crazy.
We did have, when my daughter had her car accident in the summer, my husband had her go to court for her ticket that she got because they were going to give her points on her license, and he didn't think she really deserved that. Even though, she technically did not have the right of way, and so that's why they gave her the ticket. But just showing up, the judge waived everything. Like,
wow.
He asked a question or two about something like, did she have insurance, and did she understand, what went wrong or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, she had to sit there and hear a couple of other cases where people were, driving drunk or otherwise, really at fault for their accidents. And I think that was really good for her to hear that. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's why the judge, waived her punishment, because he knew that she was taking it seriously, or we were, the family.
Yes.